We've been looking at various ways in which Microsoft Excel can help us improve the functionality of our hosted WordPress website. In earlier videos we set up a search function for our WordPress pages which had been assembled using Excel data and output. We needed to consider how to make searches quick and efficient, and for that we decided that rather than just search through each page, we'd use keyword files. And we'd use Excel to extract basic proper names from our text, since they are the basis of most search terms, and form keyword files out of them. But whilst our first Visual Basic routine did the job, our keyword file included a lot of redundant words and terms, and missed quite a lot of stuff out. By the way, you'll probably need to check out the previous video 5 first to fully understand this one. Okay, so what's the problem? Well, the problem is that search terms can also include proper name compounds such as Bank of England, Tower of London, elephant and castle, where our routine won't find the lowercase prepositions such as of and conjunctions like and, so we'll need an adjustment. What we'll say is, if it's true that the last word we found was a proper name, and the current word is of, then we may have a compound, so we'll add of to our proper name list by capitalizing the first letter O. That's both reasonable and simple. So first we'll add another variable called capital as a Boolean data type. This means it only has two values, true or false. And we'll set it to true whenever the previous word in the loop begins with a capital letter. And we'll add a select case statement, which means we can create an exceptions list of words. So we start with a conditional which tests if capital is true. If it is, then our select case statement checks our current word against one of its cases to see if it includes of. And if it does, it replaces the letter lowercase o with an uppercase O. And notice how we use the Visual Basic replace function. The first three parts are pretty obvious. For example, we're looking at strLine for of with a small o, and replacing it with an of with a capital O. The next instructions tell the function to start at the first character in strLine and only replace of once. We don't want a whole load of ofs with capital letters. Now our word will pass the ASCII test. If our word doesn't match any cases, then we'll set capital to false and carry on to the next word. If we run our example text again, this is a Wikipedia article on George Orwell and Animal Farm. We see a minimal increase in tags, but sensible compounds such as Battle of Britain and Ministry of Food appear. As we said, the select case means we can add as many other words as we wish. Adding and the, for instance, gives us 4 more useful compounds which otherwise would have been missed if we'd just taken capitalized names. Another problem is the amount of repetitions in our keyword file. And this is far trickier than it looks. We can easily add a few lines to check whether the current word exists in our keyword file and ignore it. But for example, if we already have John Abbott in our file and come across John Smith, what do we do with the second John? The downside of a simple mechanistic approach is redundancy, but at least we can cut 70% out of a fairly densely packed document, and Excel takes less than 1/10 of a second to do it. If we add a little code, we can also output the keyword file to our PHP folder and then make changes to the file by hand in NotePad, which should only take a few minutes. This also allows us to enter a few keywords which may be essential but don't necessarily exist in the text itself. But now we come to a big step in coding. Up to now, all our code has been within one subroutine, but the real strength of coding is being able to call one subroutine from within another. This means we can create subroutines which have one fairly basic function, but which can be used many times from different parts of our project. This can save lots of time and effort if done properly. So we've set up a small subroutine called open_output, and in the brackets next to the name we've added 2 string variables, file path and output file. These are variables which we'll use in the next few lines of code, which you'll recognize from other videos, to output our text data into a file in PHP folder. But how does this subroutine get this information? Simple, we send the data to it from our main routine like this. We've declared a file name string and given it the value Animal Farm. And then we've called the open output routine and included the full file path of our keyword text file as a string and the output text we've gathered from our loop. These two bits of information are then passed over to the output routine to execute. And when it's finished, it returns us to this point in our main routine. So now whenever we want to output a file, we can just call this routine from anywhere in our code. But could we automate any of this to handle a lot of keyword pages? Actually, yes, quite easily. And in the next video, we'll see how we can use Excel query tables to download web pages such as Wikipedia pages into Excel and then search through them for data to populate worksheet tables. Or, if we wish, create keyword files using the routine we've just looked at. In the meantime, thanks for watching.